Hello there, everybody. How are you all doing today? It's time for something a little different that I wasn't really planning on doing, but saw it and decided I was going to do it anyway because we saw the state of play, right?
Yeah.
It's currently because that was on the 30th, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a couple days after. We didn't. I remember during the thing we said we didn't know what the transmission was. Megan was like, well, maybe it's a recap, and I shot that down because I was like, you don't need no recap from Silent Hill 1. 3-1, sure. 2-1, nah, not necessary. So I decided to look it up and see what it was, and I found out that I guess it's like a gameplay thing. I guess they show off a little bit more of the game, which kind of works out really well for me because I don't know how scared I'm going to be with this game in terms of like its quality, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to tell me how excited I get to be or how scared I get to be at the idea. And we'll see if Megan maybe even thinks it looks good herself. We'll have to see, because you've not played a Silent Hill game ever.
I have not, but I mean, from what we've seen, I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, if it's going to be similar to the Resident Evil remakes, and I mean, those look pretty cool to me. I just haven't got around to playing them.
Yeah, so we'll see. So we'll get an opinion from someone that's played through the Resident Evil games and an opinion from someone who's not Resident Evil, Silent Hill games, and from someone who is not. So it should be pretty interesting. Hi, Megan, you ready for the transmission?
I am.
Once again, volume will be tweaked throughout this whole thing. The classic music.
こんにちは。サイレントヒルの情報をお伝えする番組サイレントヒルトランスミッションへようこそ。サイレントヒルシリーズのプロデューサーを務める岡本元井です。前回は多くのタイトルの最新情報をお届けしましたが、今回はサイレントヒル2について。
I guess this is for like the whole Silent Hill like franchise, but yeah, more of a focus on SH2 because it's coming out.
最後まで配信をご覧ください。
Yeah.
先ほどプレイステーションの配信番組でもサイレントヒル2の新たなトレーラーが公開されましたが、また別のゲームプレイ。
Man, I'm telling you right now, this is gonna make or break Silent Hill as a series. I'm pretty sure. Because like Silent Hill is kind of hanging on its like last legs, right? And you can tell they want it to work because they're doing specific things that they're calling transmissions to try and build hype for it, right? So I just want to make sure, like, it's on auto. Boo, get off that auto.
Yeah, give us good quality.
Yeah, give us a good quality.
But yeah, like honestly, it wouldn't surprise me that if this ends up doing not so great, that this could be the last Silent Hill game. But we'll have to see, obviously. I wouldn't want that to happen.
Yeah. Right? Because
Special place.
Because like Silent Hill has had it rough.
What could she mean?
But so I don't know if they have like official subtitles or not. Probably not.
This whole town was our special place.
So like right now, it does look like they're recreating a lot of the cutscenes.
Someday.
Yeah.
But you never did.
Man, her voice actually sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty close to the original. I don't know if... See, because I don't know who, if anyone, they'd be bringing back. I know James is a different guy, which makes me sad.
Yeah. I mean, it has been like 20 years since the game came out, so I'd be very surprised if they could get a majority of them back.
Died of that damn disease 3 years ago. Is she really alive?
I'm gonna pause. Oh, I was gonna pause. I'm gonna pause here briefly because I want to say something that. See, this is gonna be like not over analyzing, but this is gonna be like kind of overthinking some of these, to be honest. Because like, so let's assume like this is where he says that line, right?
3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is she really alive?
If he actually says that here, now this is just speculation. If he says that line here, then I don't like that. Right? Because and this is very like nitpicky kind of, but Silent Hill 2 is actually just like such a masterpiece. Like I'm not even like memeing, right? I actually highly rate Silent Hill 2 as a game for its story. And he says that at the beginning of the game because what is it? Could she really be here?
Is she really alive?
Is she really alive? Okay, so I think like he says a variation at the least of this line near the beginning of the game, like right before it drops the title.
Okay.
And I think he says it like as he's overlooking Silent Hill, right? Like from atop a car, like a parking lot at a lookout point. And that's such a beautiful like kind of mysterious way for like the game to kind of begin, right?
Yeah.
So him just like being on the road to Silent Hill and then going like, is she really still alive? Doesn't really invoke the same feeling to me.
Yeah.
Once again, very nitpicky, right? But it's nitpicky in the same way that I'd nitpick Resident Evil 3 for its "you want stars, I'll show you stars" line, which to me they did kind of ruin because it's in a completely different moment and in a completely different context. So yeah, again, I love my lines in games like these, right? I want them to be at least mostly faithful. If they're like a line that's really memorable to me. I will say it looks really nice, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think they've definitely nailed the atmosphere.
Yeah. And I do know where this is in the game, because I do remember the cutscene. It's going to cut to an enemy, and it's going to be walking through the fog or something. Okay, so that's where it would happen. They didn't show it. That's where it would have happened. Then you follow.
Hey, wait.
Yeah, because this is like near the beginning of the game.
Oh, that's spooky.
That is pretty spooky.
Don't crawl in there! No!
Yeah, James is weird for the things he'll do. So this is the hotel. Very iconic place. Oh! Oh, they changed that. That's very different, because that's not where you get the radio in the original game. That's in a very different spot, actually.
Yeah,
So maybe they're taking you to the hotel earlier.
maybe. Oh, I don't like how it looks like she has a zipper on the back.
Combat seems okay. There's one thing I really like about the way James actually attacks enemies in the original game is just how like clunkily he swings it, because he's not a fighter, he's just a dude, right?
Yeah.
So I like how they have that clunkiness. So that's kind of fine in this. Okay, it's cool that you can smash like car windows for stuff. Looking at it is a little bit strange. But I mean, it's still neat.
Where are you, Mary?
Barneely's. Yeah, I hope they keep a certain line in the game, actually. He's doing that on his map. Okay, that's nice. Because, like, that marks it on the map, I think. That's kind of a neat thing with Silent Hill, right? Is on the map, like, the character... Like, they don't show the character doing it, but, like, when there's a point of interest or something, like, it's very clearly made to look like the character, like, circles it, like, on the map, right? Like, in a red pen. So I kind of like how you can actually see him do that. That I do think is good.
That is pretty cool.
If you're reading this, leave this place is not what it seems. There's another side to it hidden behind a rest. Thin as paper. Sometimes you just hear it to look behind. Okay. But one thing I hope they kind of keep in the game, which they may even show in here, is probably one of the weirder things in the game that doesn't make any sense. Is like you go, I think you even go into Barneely's, and you find this note, right?
Yeah.
And I think it just says, there was a hole here. It's gone now. And there's no context. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't lead anywhere. There are no holes that you could seemingly like find around. It doesn't really make any sense.
Hmm.
And I kind of hope they keep that. But I don't know. It was just always a really weird thing.
Yeah.
Just like, there's a hole here. It's gone now.
What you got there?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
She sounds really similar too, actually. So far, it's only James that sounds like different.
How do you know her name?
Okay,
How do you know her name?
in your opinion, does James have enough emotion in his face when he does this?
How do you know her name?
I don't think
know, 'cause,
so.
like, he's got a decent amount of eye motion and stuff there, but like, it's kind of weird that his face doesn't really move very much.
His face doesn't really move, and like I know the context for this whole scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
As well, and I feel like James should have like he looks a bit surprised here, but I feel like there should be a lot more like movement in his face because he should be like really confused at this point, right?
Okay.
So it should be kind of like, because like when I think of like how someone would say like, oh, how does she know her name? Like, their eyes kind of like furrow down a little bit and kind of like you're thinking, right? Like
Yeah.
how could this kid possibly know her name, right? But like you said, I'm seeing it in the eyes. I'm just not seeing it in the facial movements. It's just a bit stiff, which they could change, right? Like that stuff, because the game's still months away. They could add a lot of details like that.
I don't know. Let's look around.
I do like the way they're doing the maps. The way they're doing the maps is real nice.
This place feels so
Yeah, the maps seem really cool to me.
empty. More than the other places we've been.
See, I remember going to the hospital like at a later point in the game. I wonder if they're going to change around some of the locations. Crucial patients and which ones. Could we please bring them to his office? Okay. I don't remember if that's in the original. Which, if it's not, like, that's kind of neat to kind of show. Because I like how it kind of looks like the nurse enemies that we saw in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
With their faces not being there. I'm gonna have a lot of fun, like, looking at some of the boards, like, the notes on the boards. Just to see what they might say.
There.
Laura! Wait!
It's okay. We don't want to hurt you.
God damn it. Now, where is that girl?
Okay, there they are. I think the movements on the nurses look pretty good. But yeah, you can definitely tell they're trying to mimic what Resident Evil remakes have been doing, right?
Yeah.
They're mimicking the camera, because, like, it works, right? Like,
It does.
it's a good
And
way
I
of
mean,
doing it.
Yeah, because I would say like the environments look really good. They look very atmospheric, very detailed. And like you said, the animations of a lot of the monsters we've seen so far look pretty good.
I hope there aren't people out there, by the way, that see this and go like, oh, well, man, they're turning this into an action game because he's killing everybody. You could kill every enemy in Silent Hill. You know? I'm just going to say that before anybody gets on that. Because you had melee weapons as, like, your primary form of combat. You had no reason not to kill things that, like, weren't in the way. Unless they were just, like, too many to deal with or something, right?
Okay, so it's a little more stringent on that than Resident Evil because there's a lack of limited ammo.
Yeah, like, I mean, and even, like, well, at least in Silent Hill 2 I played, which I believe was indeed normal difficulty, I never really had much of an issue with ammo in that game either, right? It's just, you know, use melee, right? For more of your attacks anyway. So, I don't know. I just wouldn't be surprised if there are people out there going like, oh, they're making it too action-y. But it's like, no, you could kill everything in Silent Hill. You could, if you wanted to. You'd still run to try and avoid it because it wasn't really worth the risk.
Yeah.
But, like, you could kill everything in Silent Hill. Like, they're showing off, like, more gunplay right now than what you'd probably see in the game generally.
Yeah.
But, like, that's okay, right? Like, they're gonna show off the guns maybe a little bit more in the trailer just to show you how, like, they look, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, the game's not gonna force you to shoot everything, you know? Use your pipe for all you want. Like, I'd use the pipe.
I mean, yeah. Pipe seems pretty effective. Like, it is dealing with the enemies pretty well. So, like, there's not really a reason to not use it unless you need the gun.
Yeah.
Which is honestly kind of nice, because I feel like a lot of games like this, they'll generally leave the melee weapon as a relatively weak weapon, because they want you to focus on managing ammunition rather than using a melee weapon. But it's nice when a game gives you, like, a decent melee weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy. I don't like that.
Gas has really bad aim, by the way. Yeah. No, this enemy's really creepy for doing that kind of stuff. Oh, complete
I mean, yeah,
whiff.
it's bad aim, but hey, showing off the dust particles when you shoot the ground.
I mean, true.
Plus, they probably want to hint that this enemy is very elusive and hard to hit, so...
Probably. So what are the odds we see Pyramid Head, by the way? I think pretty high at the end.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see it. I don't know if we'll see him actually fight Pyramid Head, but we'll probably see it at least a little bit.
We'll probably see, like, Pyramid Head show up. Maybe, like, a chase scene.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Laura, why do you keep running away from me? And how do you know about Mary?
Mary's my friend. We met at the hospital last year.
Stop lying. Laura, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Fine, don't believe me. See if I care.
Hey!
Let go.
Sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Look, just stay with me, okay? This is no place for a kid.
Fine. But there's something I gotta get.
Laura,
It's important.
what is it?
A letter. For Mary.
What?
I hid it. In there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be kind of real as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, this isn't like a criticism on this or anything, but I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of enjoy some of the bad, like, dialogue and voice acting in Silent Hill 2.
You sure?
Yeah.
Where you left it?
It's in the back.
Cause like I'm
Pipe.
kind of curious if they'll show it here, because this is the scene that I'm thinking of.
Open the door, Laura.
Why should I?
Yeah.
Liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya?
Let me out of here, you little brat.
Yeah, because in like the original game, she goes like, "Ha ha, tricked you,"
Open the door.
and it's like,
Something in here.
it's like pretty bad, but I like how she does it in the original.
See ya, fart
Yeah.
face.
Laura! Laura!
But that's because I also like cheesy dialogue like that, where it doesn't sound that good.
I mean, you do.
I mean, so my only real complaint is if they change the location of where James says the initial line, but I don't think they will. And maybe the facial expressions are a little bit off, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it needs a bit more time in the oven for that. But I mean, overall, like, it doesn't look awful, right?
Yeah.
Like, it looks perfectly fine. I mean, I could maybe see some people saying, like, oh, the graphics could maybe look a little better, but I mean, I think it looks okay.
I think it looks good, to be honest.
Like, I don't know, just everything seems alright. Like, I'm still very lukewarm on whether it'll be good. But this didn't make me go, oh, okay, it's gonna be bad. And it also didn't make me go, oh yeah, I'm like having a lot of faith, right? Oh, that's cool.
Are those references to the original game?
Kind of. So the dog mask here is so Silent Hill has a bit of a tradition. I don't know if they kept it or not going forward, but they usually have like a joke ending. Silent Hill generally has like a lot of endings, right?
Okay.
And they have like a joke ending generally. This is a reference to one of the joke endings. I guess I can kind of say what it is because it's not really spoilers, and you can only get it on like the second playthrough anyway, I think. So this mask is a reference to what is called, I think, the dog ending in Silent Hill 2. I don't know what you need to do to get it. You need to do some very like complex things to do it. And like I say, I think you can only get it on your second playthrough. But I think when you enter a room, it cuts to like a cartoony kind of comic book style like cutscene, I think, where it's like done in panels. And it's like James walking up to a dog who's at a big ass computer with a lot of monitors. And it's like James goes to some effect of like, oh, so you were controlling the town, weren't you? And it's implying that the dog was like in control of everything going on in Silent Hill by flicking switches and stuff on like the monitors. And like watching people on the monitors. Like it's a really silly, fun little ending. I do like it. Right? It's a funny ending, right, Megan? Right, Megan?
I mean, it sounds funny, yeah.
So your just sheer silence there made me think maybe I needed to explain it a bit better. But
No, it's okay. Sorry.
But yeah, no, it's just implying the dog controls Silent Hill. It's a joke ending. It's funny. This right here, the rabbit, right, the pink rabbit, is a reference to Silent Hill 3 in particular. I don't believe he shows up in 2 or 1. I think he's in 3 and 4. 'Cause Silent Hill has an amusement park. Right? And Robbie the Rabbit is one of the mascots. And that's the Robbie the Rabbit mask, which is neat.
Okay.
So it's cool that you get these. So to be fair, like I probably will pre-order this game. I don't know, like not for the masks, just because I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to play it on launch, right?
I mean, yeah, and if you're going to do that, you might as well pre-order.
Yeah. Probably get it on PS5. You know?
I mean, yeah, I figured you probably would.
So yeah, so that's neat. I do like the references.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah, what's the deluxe edition? If you...
Oh, it's
okay,
a pizza box pyramid head? Okay, that's really funny.
That's actually really funny. Digital soundtrack, digital art book. See, I would consider the deluxe edition for maybe the pyramid head mask. I'm not really too sure though. The soundtrack, I mean, I would hope the soundtrack's good. I love the soundtrack to Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd like it enough in the remake. Right.
That's true.
But we'll see. Depends how much money it is.
Yeah.
Because like I'm sure you'd probably like the art book. Yeah, see, this is it. That's it.
登場する
This is where he says that line that I'm talking about, right?
Ah,
Because like he comes out of the bathroom, I guess it's overlooking the lake actually, which makes more sense. And he talks, he says like, oh, you know, could she really be alive? And then it like shows Silent Hill, and then you're just in the game. Like after that, it's like okay.
キャラクターやさまざまなロケーションのコンセプト
This bit I don't recognize actually. I found it weird how James looks small and everything looks big.
アートが
yeah.
130枚以上収録されています。
What are they doing with the
さまなロ
nurses?
ケーションのコンセプトアートが130
Are they gonna give the nurses like different like styles? Are they gonna like individualize them a little bit? Because that's interesting if that's what they're gonna do.
I mean,
Or
maybe.
or if these are just
Right.
ideas for like what maybe they would do with the nurses. That's interesting.
枚以上収録されています。
Pyramid Head, of
ま
course.
たサウンドトラックは今回も原作と同じ
Okay, so I assume that's the same guy that probably worked on the original,
原作の楽曲のアレンジ版
Probably.
が
which I'm okay with. That gives me faith.
どちらもシリーズファンの方には満足いただけるコンテンツになっていますので楽しみにしていただければと思います。
Please look forward to it.
そしてデラックスエディションも事前
48-hour early access. That might be, I don't know, that might be alright. Get it like 2 days early, I guess.
ロビー・ザ・ラビットのマスクが入手可能です。
I like how they have it underlined.
としていち早くサイレン
yeah,
トヒル
they
2を
won't
楽しん
emphasize.
でいただくことができる48時間の先行
Okay, so I might get digital deluxe edition just for, or deluxe edition just for that.
点をご確認ください。サイレントヒル2を
But it says pre-order download. So that might be a download only. They might not have
Yeah, it
physical
looks like only
first
the
for that.
standard edition is physical. Everything else is download. So if you got a physical of the game, you'd have to buy the deluxe edition stuff online, probably.
Probably. Okay, well, I'll consider this because I would. See, this kind of sucks because I would like it physical. Because you got me into wanting that now.
You're welcome.
But if I want all the cool goodies, I gotta pre-order the digital. I
mean,
presume is what this is
yeah.
saying.
Yeah, that's kind of how a lot of games are moving, unfortunately. Like, you can't really get pre-order items as much for physical copies. And they're doing all these early access, too, so you also can't partake in that as well.
That's true. That's true. You couldn't really do 48-hour early access with a pre-order. I guess what I could do is I could get the digital deluxe edition and then just cop like a physical edition later.
Yeah, like I'm sure you'd be able to get it later, like just wait until the physical drops and get it cheaper.
Yeah, because I could do
早
that.
く体験でき世界観を丸ごと楽しんでいただけるデラックスエディションの事前予約がおすすめです。皆様ぜひご予約の上発売をお待ちください。さて、コナミとゲームの開発会社であるブルーバーチームがタッグを組んでお送りするサイレントヒル2ですが、ブルーバーチームのスタッフからメッセージ映像を受け取っています。こちらをご覧ください。
Damn, look at all that
I'm very
code.
excited for people to play this game. There's
I know,
no
right?
one aspect that I could say that I want people to experience because I want people to experience all of it. It's such a journey. It's such a big part of our lives, and I just want people to be able to see it.
I will say if that's gonna be like the cover for the game's physical edition, it does look really nice too.
Was actually how to make
Yeah.
the game approachable for the newcomers who have not played the original, but at the same time to still retain the familiarity of the game that player remembers from 20 years ago.
Our goal from the very beginning was to maintain the game's atmosphere while modernizing the gameplay to make it competitive in 2024.
In the remake, the story remains largely the same. However, with the magic of modern technology, we're able to expand on some of its aspects.
The hardest was designing combat. We want to be as faithful as possible to the original game, but also we want players to feel satisfaction while playing, remembering that we need to fit in horror genre standards.
So when making a game with static cameras, you
I don't know, I'm really trying to,
have more
like-
control over what players sees, where they go, and so on.
Hear what
The
they
first-person
say,
perspective
right?
was a
Yeah.
challenge.
So that could tell me some stuff.
That being said, it's a chance for us to expand this world, to show the players new elements that were previously inaccessible, and just make this game richer.
So the main thing that requires rethinking was the fog, because it was called classic in the original game.
Mhm.
The veil that covers the world and makes the player to feel even more isolated.
New technologies gives us a chance to do things that were not possible during the earlier generations of video games. For narrative, this is very visible in facial expressions. We can tell so much.
Yeah, which I didn't really see enough in James, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not seeing enough facial
The
expressions.
presented gameplay footage shows a fragment of the city from the beginning of the game and sections in Brookhaven Hospital. The fight against monsters...
That concerns me that she said that, because now I'm thinking maybe they are done, but I don't think they're that good.
James is not used to fighting, so his arsenal of
Yeah,
attacks
like, I
is
mean, I guess
limited.
we'll have to see with a lot of the
Adapting
other
your approach
characters,
to
because, I mean,
situation
obviously I didn't play
will
the
be the key
original,
to
I don't
success.
know what James is
However,
like as a
your
character, but
playing
maybe in
style, among
comparison
other
he's
things,
not as
determines
emotive
what
as a lot of
ending
the
you
other
will discover.
characters.
Like, he's not generally an emotive character, I will admit. But, like, in terms of how his personality would kind of give to... Like, in terms of how his personality would come across in the original game. But even then, I would expect at least, like, a little bit of eyebrow
さら
movement.
にゲームの中で
Yeah.
ジェームス役、メアリーとマリア役を演じてくれたキャストのインタビューも届いています。こちらもご覧ください。
So I'm Luke Roberts, and I'm playing James Sunderland in the remake of Silent Hill 2.
My name is Salome Gunnarsdottir, and I play Mary/Maria.
When you're playing an iconic character such as James Sunderland, you obviously have to respect the original.
When playing these characters in this game, the thing that I paid most attention to was the original game.
So he is not an action hero by any means. He
Mhm,
is just a guy who is a little lost at the top of this game, and in a sense of he is to a greater extent in a bewildered state. So it's very interesting charting his journey.
This one, we're trying to honor something that's already been made. And so it's not me creating something, it's me channeling something.
The tone of this game is very important, and the team at Bloober were very keen to create an incredible atmosphere for the gamers.
I do believe that this will be trying its very best to capture and recapture the atmosphere, the vibe, and...
See, I do believe that, because so far I have seen a lot that makes me think that they're not going to deviate, like, a lot, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
本作では俳優の表情と演技をパフォーマンスキャプチャーすることで心理描写を強化していますので、ぜひ期待していただければと思います。ゲームについての情報はここまでとなります。続いては映画リターントゥサイレントヒルの最新情報が届いております。
Okay, I'm curious about
ご覧
this.
ください。
Return to Silent Hill, because I don't remember if they mentioned this last time. I think they mentioned it was happening.
Yeah, I don't believe we saw anything in particular, but they did mention it was a thing.
I came to adapt Silent Hill 2 with respect and passion. It's an act of passion for me. I consider that the four first games are a masterpiece, very modern and very
Oh, you know what? I've never actually seen the Japanese box art release. Now, Megan and I, at one point, did do like one thing where we talked about game box arts, which I want to do again, actually.
Yeah.
And I, funnily enough, I think Silent Hill was part of some of the series I wanted to talk about. So, we're not going to do that right now, right?
Yeah.
But I do want to just say that I don't think these are bad, but I do kind of think the ones for North America are probably a little bit better.
Okay.
And I'll just mention like what they are. Maybe, like I said, maybe Megan and I'll do, because I actually really do want to do more like talking about box art stuff, right? Because I thought it was really fun the one time we did it. So like Silent Hill 1, this looks okay. It's like a blood smear, I guess.
Yeah.
But in North America, it's the main character's face, but like in gray. and looking very ghost-like with like kind of the town in the background, which I think I like a little bit more.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2. See, this I actually like as well, because like it doesn't really make a lot of sense when you see the like when you see this box art, like it's very mysterious, and you go like, what is that? See, it's funny because I played the game, so I know the context for these squares, right?
Yeah.
So like to me that's pretty okay. At the same time, I think I like Silent Hills a little bit better. Let me just see. Because I think I remember it, but I wanna be sure. It's kind of like just a spooky woman's like face. Like it's a woman's face, but like half of it's hidden, and it's kind of like she's kind of like on her side a little bit. It's kind of like she's laying down, so which I kind of think I like a little bit more, right? So to me, it's two North America ones that are pretty good. For Silent Hill 3, I think it's just because it's basically this character, but I think it's just her face more on with the camera. So I think I kind of like this a little bit more. But I think both are fine. And this one is almost exactly identical, except in North America, it's not like kind of black out, right? Like it's not this black or dark.
Yeah.
And there's no silhouetted face here. It's just the door. But it's the door with like the proper room colors, right? Which I'm not gonna lie, I now this one's probably is up to for personal preference especially, but I kind of like the one where it's just the door a little bit more. So the one in North America, just because I like the visual of just the door, right? Yeah. Because the door is all you really need for the room. Like it's really crazy how much like that door is kind of like a character in and of itself, you know.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I was kind of telling you about that too. I don't know where. But I was like, oh yeah, that, you know, like, because I wanted to actually show you like a pic. Oh, it was during one of the E3 things where we talked about that. So. Because I really wanted to show you the door, because I think the door is such a good symbol for that game. Yeah, like it's such a good visual piece. I really say what you want about Silent Hill 4. I don't think it's really that great of a game. I think it's like okay, but I don't think it's that great of a game. But I always loved the visual of the door. There's something so perfect about the door that is just amazing to me. I just like it.
Very modern and very transgressive piece.
Very creepy.
The second game is the most adult of all the Silent Hill. It's a story of James Sunderland. He has lost his beloved bride, and he decided to go back to Silent Hill to find her. And he realized that basically...
So the movie is based off Silent Hill 2 as well?
Became something like a hell, his own hell.
I guess so.
They're really...
It's like a little much.
They're really leaning into Silent Hill 2. Wow.
This film had an emotional level to the horror, and certainly because of that, is even more disturbing.
See, I didn't think the movie was based off of Silent Hill 2 as well.
Was like an epic journey for.
Yeah, see, I actually like the original Silent Hill movie for what it is.
Into the psychological horror. On the first film, production design of Silent Hill was the big thing.
Is it the same guy that made it?
Energy was on it. And on this one,
I'm not too sure.
Great surprise to realize that the people who were going to.
I am kind of curious though, like after you see the movie and play the remake and everything, where everything will fall on the Silent Hill 2 tier list, because we're gonna have enough things to make a tier list of just Silent Hill 2.
I mean, probably. I mean, dude, I absolutely love. Oh yeah, it is made by the same guy.
To create.
Oh, well, that's good. I really like that.
Quite unexpected. I was thinking to myself.
Because that means it probably is going to be set in that same universe.
In fact, no.
Probably.
Which I'm okay with.
They were the 2.0 generation of.
I like a lot of the sets and the costume designs and stuff that they're showing off here.
Yeah, like it looks pretty good. So you know what, I have like the movie's not going to win any awards, probably. Right.
Most likely not.
But it'll probably be a fun movie for the fans, probably.
Christoph is really.
And hey, it's one of the movies they can actually shove Pyramid Head in and have it make sense. So sure.
Really supportive.
We are working on their property.
Okay, so see, that makes a bit more sense why they do Silent Hill 2 as a movie then, because he already made the movie for Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 3, essentially. Right. So it's kind of fair that they're doing Silent Hill 2 for this one. But
has not aged
but
badly, it's because the creature
right
are actually in front of the actor on the set. So all the monsters
it's real person. I wonder if it's like a bit telling that they're really leaning into Silent Hill 2 for their first remake, and also for the movie,
Actually, very
because they know
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 is the most popular.
Yeah.
Right.
Yamaoka is not only the composer of the
So it's like,
original game of the
you know,
franchise, he was also the producer.
I feel like it is kind of a make or break for Silent Hill.
So, Akira Yamaoka.
They're like, if Silent Hill 2 doesn't do good, the other ones aren't. Right?
More than
Most likely, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how Konami kind of feels about it.
Soundtrack, but I don't know any other music which could be like the one of Silent Hill. Yes, Akira
And I don't know,
is on this film. That's very important.
See how people don't think like I don't like Silent Hill or something, because I actually really do love like the game series. I just really don't trust Konami. They've just done so much with
To show respect and humility.
Silent Hill that has shown me that they don't know what they're really doing with the franchise. Right?
Well, yeah, not
per-
even just that too. If you like extrapolate to their other franchises like Metal Gear, like they seem to be struggling over, I'd say, probably the last 10 years or so with their games.
ゲームとは少し異なる
Yeah.
で作られた
So I don't know. Like it's just a big struggle with
ぜ
Konami
ひとも両方体験してみてください。
because like
続いてはサイレントヒルシリーズの
because Silent Hill really I feel like really lost what its identity was.
紹介するのはサイレントヒル2のグッズ
You know?
Yeah.
グッドスマイルカンパニーの商品です。
And
リメイク版サイレントヒル2より
I don't know, their games really went downhill in terms of like quality and story, and they just shoved Pyramid Head into everything, which was just really strange. I know I've talked about that before, right?
Yeah.
But like it's true. Oh yeah, see this is it. This is the ending. This is the ending where he's like, because he's like watching them and he's like directing like everything that happens through these monitors and these two switches.
Okay, that's really funny. I do like how they made Pyramid Head into an android though. That's really funny.
That is pretty funny. I do like that.
月光より犬エンド6分の1スケール貯金箱スタチューの予約受付がいよいよ本日より始まります。物語のすべては柴犬のミラが操作している。
So I wanna also say I find it kind of funny how I guess they call it Inu End in Japan because it's like a Shiba Inu, right?
Yeah.
But I think here in the West we always just call it the dog ending, which I guess is what they call it here too. At least that's how I've always heard it referred to as, was the dog ending. See, I totally wasn't a spoiler. They're even talking about it.
I mean, without context, you don't really know what's going on. You just see a cute dog and you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, it literally has nothing to do with any of the story. It's literally just, like, you go into a room and suddenly, like, the dog was controlling everything. It changes nothing about, like, it tells you nothing about the story.
Yeah. I do like when games throw in stuff like that.
ゲーム内のパズルを模した特製ディスプレイボックスに入れてお届けします。続いてパープルブルキーカードとなります。
But yeah, like Silent Hill is one of those franchises that I am going to be hard on until Konami proves to me that they can actually do it well. It's going to really depend on the remake.
Yeah. Although admittedly, to me it's a little bit concerning like how many different versions of merchandise they have with the game not even out yet. Like they're really trying to monetize it super hard.
They are. Like, they're even bringing out his jacket. I mean, that is cool. I do like when games do that.
Yeah. Like, it probably costs way too much money, but for the people who are big fans of it, you know, it's nice to have something practical you can use.
謎めいた主人公を体現したい方にはぴったりのアイテムです。
Although I'm gonna say this, like, I feel like it's kind of hard to wear, like, out and about. Just because he has, like, these pins, or these, like, patches, like, on him, like American flag and all that. People may, like, make assumptions about the flag, to be honest.
Maybe.
I'm not saying, like, it's bad to be American or anything like that, right? But, like, people would assume, like, oh, you're from America. Or maybe even that you're from the military, just based on the style of jacket. Because I think this is, like, a military kind of styled jacket, right? And
it is that, like, army green color.
Yeah, so you see the patches, like, oh, you're part of the American military. And I know, you know, some people do take great offense to if, like...
People pretend to be part of the military?
People pretending to be part of, like, the U.S. military. And I guess probably Canadian military, too. I'm not really too sure. So I just don't know if people don't know, like...
Yeah.
And if they ask, like, oh, you're in the military, and you say no, would they go, like, oh, so you're one of those people then? Right? So, I don't know. I feel like this jacket could cause problems if people make assumptions and they don't know.
It could. I wouldn't be surprised if there was even something on the back just referencing Silent Hill to make it a little more apparent. But if they don't have anything like that, then yeah, maybe it would be a little confusing. I do like the shadow boxes that they've been released, and I really hope I can get some for some games I like.
I mean, that is pretty cool.
They're a nice little display piece.
Yeah, was this free already, or yeah,
I think this is already out for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard it wasn't that good. I meant to try it,
good, and it
but I
also
haven't.
has stuff in the story that changes based on what the audience says or something. Or I can't quite remember, but yeah, I've heard it's not really that good.
Like, I might try it out at some point because I am curious about it.
I mean, yeah, you might as well. They got merch for this? Really?
Sakura head. Alright. I like how it's just Pyramid Head with Sakura flower blossoms.
I mean, that's pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They're really trying to merch this up, which is a little concern. See, it's...
I know that's more of a thing in Japanese culture, just to generally have a lot of merch for this kind of stuff. That's where they make most of their money. But, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because they're bringing all shown here. It just feels like a lot of merch, which makes me question, like, do they think the game's not gonna do very well, so they're trying to make up the money with merch?
I don't know.
Because they even got the soundtrack streaming on a bunch of different sites and download sale for everywhere for the spin-off game. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a culture difference thing, but it kind of makes me feel like they don't have as much faith in the property as they probably should.
Well, see, I think this is very... See, funnily enough, like, considering how many years, like, Silent Hill and Resident Evil were compared, you can still do it, because look at how Capcom handled the Resident Evil remakes, right?
Yeah.
Like, some merch, not really pushed. They didn't really have any special, like, yo, here's this remake coming out, like, special things like what this is, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about this. I don't know if I should be concerned or not. Because, like, you could look at it with all the merch that they're expecting the game to either not do well, or they're setting standards too high, where they think the game will be really popular, sell a lot, and then therefore sell merch.
Well, and that's kind of the thing I'm thinking, right? Like, I feel like regardless of the quality of the game, because this is a decent remake, it'll probably sell a decent amount of copies. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it easily sells like 3 to 5 million copies. But with how much merch and like everything they have behind this, I wouldn't be surprised if they're very similar to EA, where they would just consider this to be kind of like a financial failure.
Well, that's kind of
the expectations.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Because like lately, a lot of game companies I feel like have been setting the bar too high. Even Square Enix has been setting the bar too high, right?
Yeah.
Because for anybody that doesn't know, like Final Fantasy 16 came out, and it actually sold pretty well, I think, right? But even with like Rebirth or whatever, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, I think that's probably an even better example, because that came out, people bought it, but Square was still like, yeah, it didn't really sell as well as we thought it would. But I'm pretty sure it still sold a good amount of copies. So I just worry that a lot of companies are starting to set the bar too high for a game, right? Where if it doesn't sell like literally a bajillion copies, then it's a failure. And
that's kind of what it is, yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of worry that might happen with Silent Hill 2, assuming it is good, right? Like, I'm still on the fence. Like I said, I don't really trust Konami. I have a lot of issues with Konami in relation to how they handle Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid. So, you know, it's concerning to me. I don't know. I see, this is one of those games where it's literally going to be play it and probably decide while I'm playing it, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know. Like, I love Silent Hill 2. I don't really talk about it, like, a ton, but it is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Like I'll say one of. I'm not gonna say like the.
Yeah.
But it's certainly up there because I love the story, I love the characters, I love the setting, I love how it all plays out, and I love the music. Like there's a lot in Silent Hill 2 that you can love. So the remake scares me. Like to be honest with you, it kind of scares me in the same way that like when Capcom announced they were remaking Resident Evil 2, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember that it was going to be like a very different game. And I remember my experiences from RE5, and I was like, oh, it's really actiony, though. I don't know. Could they really do Resident Evil 2 like as a remake and have it be good? And then I played it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is actually really good. They have, like, it feels like Resident Evil 2, which I really liked. So maybe that'll be the same with Silent Hill 2, because after the RE2 remake, I had more faith in Capcom that they could do it, like, well. So maybe Konami will prove to me that they can still be a game company and not just a pachinko machine company. And, you know, maybe they will actually be able to do this. And maybe Silent Hill 2 will be seen as a really good remake. Really, it looks faithful. Like, that's the thing. It looks really faithful to the original. It's just going to be a matter of how it all comes across. You know, like how the characters are, how the voice acting is. If they keep, like, the soul of the characters in there. You know? They implied that they were going to keep things, like, pretty much the same, but, you know, in the conversation, I could sense that, well, maybe they would change some aspects of the story. Right? So I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll be bad. Maybe they'll be good. Or maybe they won't touch it. The only other thing I can think of is I know during the conversation with the devs, they made mention of, like, how they wanted to make things accessible for newer players, as well as, like, we'll keep them the same feel of the original game. That only worries me a little bit, because when I hear a developer say that, it makes me think, okay, they're either going to dumb some things down a little bit, or they're going to do something that, you know, maybe takes away something from the original, right?
Yeah, which is hopefully not the case, but
I mean, I hope that's not the case, because I don't feel like, you know, you need to dumb the game down. Like, I don't know, right? This is just me, like, overthinking what the devs say.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't know what you really could take out, right? If they're gonna change anything, I don't know how they could make it more accessible for new people that haven't played the original. And one of the devs made mention of, like, the combat, and that kind of gave me some red flags, a little bit. Like we've talked about the expressions and how I feel like, you know, they could maybe be a little better. I don't know which person said it. I know it was one of the. I think it's like here. Is it like this lady? It'll load up for me. YouTube's been a little bit slow for me today with loading stuff. I don't know why. So
a challenge. That being said,
it's not it. Not it. No, official expressions.
Will be the key.
Yeah, James not used to fighting. Okay, no, where was it?
Is prepared in a more game and sections in.
Like, I don't think this was it.
Game.
Because that's that. Isolated.
Third-person perspective. Player sees where with static.
To want players to feel.
Yeah, this was it.
To the original combat. We want.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Just something about how she's like
expand on some of its aspects.
It's like the hardest was designing the combat. I'm trying to think how that would be. Right? Because I don't think the combat in Silent Hill 2 is really all that complex. You just hit things with pipes and, like, wooden boards. And you hope they die.
I think more what she means is that because they're trying to modernize the game and make the game have more broad appeal, then maybe it's harder to balance, I guess, the feeling of the original, you know, of you being able to fight basically everything, but at the same time not really being incentivized to, but also not making it feel like an action game. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of commands in combat, especially when it comes to
game,
melee combat.
but
You know, like
also-
a lot of typical games where they have like a stealth takedown from behind or like a melee combo and stuff like that that makes combat a little simpler for people like that, even if it's just a setting you can turn on.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just like balance when it comes to like gun damage and ammo and all that kind of stuff. And like the AI of the enemies, because now AI is definitely a lot better than it used to be. So that's a consideration they would have to think about as well.
Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think like combat won't make or break the game for me. Probably, I just don't want it to become actiony because that's what killed Silent Hill to begin with. Was when
Yeah.
it became like too actiony. Like I said, you could basically kill everything in the games anyway because it's all melee. Some things are harder to kill, and you were still very much incentivized to run away when you could.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like the game wasn't like a game where you couldn't fight. But, you know, later Silent Hills did lean a bit more into the, I'm gonna like shoot my gun and kill these people. I'm gonna kill these enemies. Right?
Yeah.
And it became a lot more like combat focused as opposed to here's this cool setting that we're in and feel scared. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't want them to go down the action route. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but like there's something about the way she says that. Because I know watching the thing, we were seeing James kill like enemies, and I know I was like, oh, I hope people don't say like, oh, this looks too actiony, because he can kill everything in the original game anyway. I still stand by that, but there's something about a dev saying we want players to feel satisfaction while playing, and it makes me go, I don't know. Are they trying to maybe throw in stuff where it's more bang bang shoot shoot? Right?
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the direction they're taking. Because, I mean, making it more action based, that is more appealing to a more general audience. And, like, I don't know. I guess trying to balance that with horror gameplay is rather difficult. I am kind of curious on how it's going to feel, but even just, like, the hesitancy of, like, the way she said it and everything makes me feel like she's choosing her words very carefully. Which, to me, kind of implies that, like, I don't know, maybe she's not sure if it's really what players would want in the game, but obviously we won't know until we either see more of the game or until the game comes out. I assume if it's coming out in October, we might see it one more time, but
Maybe one more, yeah.
Yeah, like that makes me feel like they don't have confidence that like the direction they're taking is the way they really should be going, or the way the players would really want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
like
we'll have to see.
Yeah, I do find it really funny though that like throughout most of this I was like, yeah, no, look, it seems pretty alright. But the moment the devs start talking is when I get concerned because it's all in how the devs choose to say certain things, right?
Yeah.
Which because as we learned, like watching the E3 stuff, everybody should go watch that. Is a lot of people in like in this business, right? Like if they're trying to like pump up either their numbers or something or stuff about the game, is you choose your language very carefully, right?
Yeah.
And you doing that, so you like I've kind of become through watching E3 very accustomed to like kind of picking up on the way people talk, and like you said, there is a hesitancy to this. And just the wording of we want players to feel satisfaction while playing, that could mean a lot of things. Right?
Well, it could. And like even a lot of the phrases they were saying during their interview generally felt like generic corporate speak. So like admittedly I'm not too sure how that would actually translate to the game. Like you want the players to feel satisfaction about the combat. You want to keep the original atmosphere of the game. Like I don't know. To me it just implies that they're not really too sure if this is exactly what would be good or not. Which, when it comes to sales numbers, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised they're disappointing. Because, I mean, I looked it up while you were talking, and, like, from what I could see, FF16 sold 3 million copies within the first week. However, I can't seem to find any sales numbers after that, so I'm wondering if it's, like, one of those situations where, like, the game sold really well on release for people who wanted it, but it didn't have a lot of long traction. And I don't know, maybe we'll see more numbers with that soon, because we are getting close to the 1-year anniversary of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did find it kind of interesting that we haven't seen anything since then, which makes me feel like that maybe they haven't sold very much since the first month or so of the game being out.
I mean, that could be very well possible.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this game falls into a similar situation.
So one thing I do want to just kind of like add on to this as well, right? Is that when a dev says we want players to feel satisfaction, there's something like when you hear that from a game dev, what do you kind of think? Because I know what I think, right? Because that's very broad, right? The term we want players to feel satisfaction is a very broad thing that could have a lot of different meanings. But there's one meaning in particular that I think is used more, like that could fit more with what they might mean by that.
So when I hear the phrase that we want players to feel satisfaction, to me, that looks like they're looking for either long-term engagement, like if they ended up having login rewards or something, which I don't think it's likely, or it means that they want the game to have long-lasting appeal to essentially continue selling, kind of similar to how Nintendo's franchises kind of just continue selling over and over and over again. And they want players to be able to speak good about their game, basically, and have a good time to essentially get other people to buy the game.
Okay. So when I personally hear that we want players to feel satisfaction while playing, to me that does imply, honestly, probably more gunplay, right? Because what's something, or maybe more of an emphasis on combat, right?
Yeah.
Because like when I think of like Silent Hill and its combat, like Silent Hill 2, like I said, you do get a decent amount of ammo. In theory, you could shoot more. I haven't played the game in years, to be fair, so I don't actually know how much ammo you can get. I know you can get a lot. But I don't know. The combat was never really the central focus with Silent Hill. And I worry that by making players satisfied while playing, that means they're going to have a bit of an emphasis on combat, where you get like the big hit where it's like, oh, boom, right? Or like, you aim and it's like, boom, and then the enemy goes flying back, right? Like, that is what I think when I hear we want players to feel satisfaction while playing. And like, it probably doesn't help that they've showed us a lot of combat in like the gameplay, which once again, I'm not saying is bad, but when they, I don't know, when the dev says it, like when the dev draws attention to it, that's when I get I get a little bit not really too sure. So for me, I'm still cautiously optimistic, right? But I'm a little bit more concerned after the dev talk, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But we'll see. Ironically enough, I'm kind of excited for the movie, and I think the movie will be fun. So I'm wary on the game, but I think the movie is going to be a fun one. At the very least.
So based on what we've seen, what do you think is going to be better, the movie or the game?
I mean, that's the scary thing, right? Because I don't really know how I can answer that. Because like, the game seems fine, but like it's. It's coming from like it's competing with Silent Hill 2, like the original, right? Like that's kind of the thing. Yeah. So, I mean, the movie is too, but geez, what do I think is gonna be better between the movie and the game? I mean, I think if I had to pick one, I mean, if they keep everything mostly the same, I think Silent Hill 2, the game.
Okay.
Because, like, if they keep things the same, then you're still going to have the good story. Right? It's just going to be... But I don't know. I think the game would be better, but I think the movie would still be good. Like, I think... Like, see, it's shit. See, that's a really hard question to answer because, like I said, I don't really know if I can give an answer on the game until I actually play it, and just see what
well, yeah,
they
and
do.
that's fair. I was just kind of curious based on this. Like, obviously, I haven't played the original game, so I am just basing it what I've seen on various states of play and what we saw today. And I mean, in terms of what we've seen here and what I know Silent Hill is supposed to be, I'm kind of leaning towards the movie being better than the game because I
Really?
don't feel like the game is going to be satisfying in a way a lot of players that really like the original are going to like. I think this game, it's very likely it might lean too heavily into the action part of the combat, and
Mm,
I'm not entirely sure if they're going to make changes to the story, but I don't know. I just get a feeling based on what you've said and everything that if they do make changes, I don't know if the fan base is necessarily going to like it. Because, like, I kind of see the movie to be a little bit different than the game itself because I'm not seeing it as competing with the game. I'm seeing it compete with other horror movies.
mhm.
And I feel like if done right, the movie could be pretty good, even if the game is very mediocre. Now, I could be wrong. It could turn out to be completely awful. Horror movies kind of just work out that way, where either they're really good or they're really bad. There's very few in between. But yeah, I'd be kind of curious. Now, like, as an actual remake, I can't say. I'm just comparing them as two separate properties, really.
That's understandable because yeah, like I said, we kind of have two very different perspectives on this because
Yeah.
I do have the concept of the original game. I do have the context of it all. So I
Yeah.
can look at this with a bit of a different eye. I'm more looking at it from the perspective of is it going to be a good and faithful remake, whereas you're looking at it as is it going to be a good game, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's definitely really interesting. You know, one thing we should probably do in preparation, at least, like, I don't know if you'd be wanting to play like any of the Silent Hill games. I'm not really too sure what you want to do with that. Obviously, I'm going to be playing them on stream most likely to kind of get prepped for this. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd plan on playing any of the originals first or not. But I do think one thing that might be fun might be to watch the movies with you. The first two Silent Hill
Yeah.
movies.
I
'Cause
could
who knows?
definitely do that.
Oh.
Just go ahead.
Because who knows? Maybe you'll watch the movies and you'll go like, you know, this guy's not really that good of a director, actually. And then maybe you won't be as excited for the movies. Because I mean, I actually like I like the first Silent Hill movie. So like I don't know if it's a hot take or not. The first Silent Hill movie, in my opinion, at the time. Now things have changed because we've gotten some good video game movies since then. But at the time, I want to say the first Silent Hill movie was the best video game to movie adaptation you could get. They made some changes I didn't really like, but
Yeah.
overall, it was okay. I enjoyed it. You know, I thought it was an overall pretty good movie. Like I always said, I have some issues, like with Pyramid Head being in it. That makes no sense. I don't like the implication. Now, I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, right? But I don't really like that they changed the gender of the main character, if that makes sense. Like I don't like how it was in the game. You have Harry, the father, looking for his daughter. It's like a very minor change, but I don't really like it when a company will go like, okay, well, you know, the mother, because the reason they do it, as far as I know, I could be wrong. Maybe someone could educate me if I am. The reason they do it is because it's always seen as like, oh, the mother is the one that like looks after the child. Therefore, you know, if it's a find your daughter story, it should be the mother, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a very like minor thing. Like it's not like I say, I like the movie, so I'm not even saying like it ruined the movie for me. It's just a case of like it's unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like as a guy. I'm not like, oh well, you know, a man can like care about his kid and want to find his kid who gets lost in Silent Hill. Right? I'm not like trying to say that either. I just think it's a very unnecessary change. But I know why they did it. Because you have the stigma of like, oh, well, you know, a woman is the one that, you know, is the caretaker. The woman is the one that's going to be like looking for her child or something like that. It's like a psychological thing, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like that for the same reason. I don't like Madison being on like the front and center of Heavy Rain's cover, right? It's kind of for the exact same reason because to me it's like unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why is Madison the front character? It should be, it should be Ethan.
Ethan.
Right? It's like, Ethan shouldn't be on the side. He should be in the center, and Madison should be on the side. So to me, it's like the same thing with the Silent Hill movie. It's like, the main character doesn't need to be the mother. Just still have it be Harry, right? There's no reason for it to not be Harry. Like, it's just an unnecessary change. And like I said, I know why they do it, and that's part of why I don't really like it. But it's a very minor thing still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, so the only things I really didn't like about the movie was Pyramid Head for no reason, because it's an unnecessary change, and them changing the gender of the main character because it's an unnecessary change, right? So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that at the very least. So I thought the movies were good. Maybe Megan will watch them and say like, "Oh, these are bad." Actually, I don't like them.
Yeah, I mean, like, we'll see. I don't know. I've been kind of debating on how I want to do this. I'm curious, like, if my impressions would be different than yours if I had played the Silent Hill remake before the original. I know you're not gonna be a fan of that.
I mean, you could do it.
I've been curious.
I mean, hey, you know what? If you want to do that, like, I'm for it. I'd be curious to see what you think if you don't play the original, but you play the new one first.
Yeah, like, we'll have to see. I don't know. Maybe other people can post in the comments and, like, give us your opinion on, if you want us to maybe try and do something like that. Maybe we could have some kind of discussion about the game, like, after we both play it at some point.
Yeah, like, I think I think it's a very interesting idea, because that's kind of a good point, because I'm not going to lie, like, my judgment of the remake is going to be, like, I am going to be judging it based on the original, like, quite a bit, right? I mean, hell, I've done that with the Resident Evils that have come out, too. Like, even RE4. I love both of them. But, like, throughout the RE4 remake, I was judging it by going, like, are they going to keep this in? And then when they did, because they always did, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And it made me love the game even more. So, I do go into remakes with, like, I do compare it to the original.
Well, yeah, and I generally like to play the original before I play remakes like this too, but because this story, like for Silent Hill 2 and 3, essentially starts on the second game, and they're kind of designing this game for newcomers, it kind of makes me curious to see if my opinion of the game is going to be different than yours, because I never played the original, because I have very little knowledge of the original.
Yeah, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, I think that sounds fun. Although I do want to give you a minor correction. You said 2 and 3. 1 and 3 are connected, 2 is separate.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, I thought 2 and 3 were connected. Okay, so 2 is by itself. Gotcha.
2 is by itself. Although, to be fair though, like, it's not a spoiler, because if it was, I wouldn't have said it already. But like, what's kind of funny is you don't even know 1 and 3 are connected until like halfway through the game, I think. And then it's like, oh, there's actually. I'm not gonna say how they're connected, but it's like, oh, they're connected, right?
That's kind of funny.
So it's like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then 4 is like its own separate thing as well. Although, like, there's like a last name which comes back, so it's like, ooh, there's some connection, but who truly knows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, I think that sounds like a fun idea. So you can play this with the no knowledge of the original. I can play it with knowledge of the original. And yeah, maybe when we're both done playing it, maybe we can talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah,
a bit of a
maybe
discussion.
when we get a little bit closer to release date, like if you wanted to, we could put like a poll or something in your Discord and kind of see what everyone else feels about it too.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds like a fun idea. Okay, well, there you go. Totally not planned, but we came up with something kind of neat during this. All right. So you think we should probably like end it here then?
Yeah, I think this is a good spot to wrap it up. I don't really have a lot more to say. Overall, I think it's going to be interesting, so I'm really curious to see and how it's going to be.
Yeah, and I'm still cautiously optimistic, although I'm a little bit scared after hearing the devs talk. So, still cautiously optimistic. But I am looking forward to the movie. I think the movie's going to be all right.
One of us is going to be a lot more stressed playing.
Probably. All right. Well, I guess that's it then. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We hope you all enjoyed. But for now, it is time we cue the outro. So frag out, and we shall catch you guys later.
Bye, guys.